Good morning, everyone. Our topic for today is Lesson 3-2 Estimate Products. You will find this lesson on page 119 up to page 122 from your book. The learning objectives for today's lesson are the following. You're going to use rounding and compatible numbers to estimate products and solve problems involving estimating products. Let's analyze this problem. A school club wants to buy shirts for each of its 38 members. Each shirt costs $23. About how much money will all the shirts cost? Solve this problem any way you choose. The original given here is 38 multiplied by 23. If I'm going to use rounding as my method, just like Anna, okay, as my method in estimating, 38 nearest to 40 and 23 is nearest to 20. I'm going to round both the highest place value. So 3 is followed by 8, so 3 becomes 4 and the rest of the digit becomes 0. 2 is followed by 3, so the rule if it is less than 4 or less than 5 rather, it is the same and the rest of the number becomes 0. So 40 multiplied by 20, so the answer is about 800. For David's work, David used compatible numbers to estimate the products. So, compatible numbers means you need to adjust the number in order you to multiply it easily. So, the compatible numbers must end with 0 or 5. These are the numbers that can easily to multiply. So, from 38, I adjusted into 40 and 23 I adjusted into 25. So 40 multiplied by 25, 25 times first 100 and there's 10. So my estimated answer is 1000. So are they both correct? Yes. Okay. So next, how can you estimate products? A store needs at least 15,000 in sales per month to make a profit. If the store is open every day in March and sales average $525 per day, will the store make a profit in March? So we can use rounding to estimate. Okay? So if I'm going to use a rounding, I will round to the highest place value, which is 5. 5 is followed by 2, so it's the same as 5. So 525 is round to 500. And 31, I'm going to round the highest place value, which is 3. So 31 rounds to 30. So 500 multiplied by 30. So my answer is about 15,000. Because you know that 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. Then you have 3 zeros. That's why the answer is 15,000. Now, teacher, is it possible that I'm going to estimate to the nearest tens only? Yes, no problem. Okay? So you can round to the different place value, no problem. But if there is a question in the exam that you're going to estimate a number using or given by the specific number that you're going to round, you need to follow. So both numbers used to estimate were less than the actual numbers. So 15,000 is what we call underestimate. Why? Because from 525, it becomes lower, it becomes 500. And 31 is the same, it becomes lower, it becomes 30. That's why your estimated answer is underestimate. A different store needs to make at least 20,000 to make a profit in March. They average $685 a day for the month. James used rounding and estimation to say that $685 is almost 700. So $700 multiplied by 30 days is 21,000. So I think it is going to be a close call. What do you think? So the answer is yes. I agree with James because I think it will be a close call since the estimate is only a little greater than the amount needed. Another example, you can estimate 24 multiplied by 398. Use the compatible numbers. Okay, so because their product is easy to compute mentally, so I will adjust number 24 to make it 25. I told you if you are using compatible numbers in estimating, much better that a number ends with 0 or 5 if you're going to adjust it. Okay, so 25 and 4 are compatible numbers because their product is easy to compute mentally. So this becomes 398. I will change it into 400. Okay, so 25 multiplied by 400, the answer is 10,000. So 10,000 is a good estimate for 24 multiplied by 398. So both numbers used to estimate were greater than the actual numbers, because from 24 it becomes 25, and from 398 it becomes 400 after you adjust the number. So if both numbers becomes higher from the original number, from the original given rather, so the answer is overestimate. Number 1. Each egg carton holds 1 dozen eggs. Michael's chicken farm fills 121 egg cartons. He thinks that there were over 1,500. Is he correct? Use an estimate to find out. So if we're going to estimate, dozen means 12. Okay? So 121 multiplied by 12. If I'm going to estimate, this is nearest to 10 and this is nearest to 100. So if we're going to multiply 100 multiplied by 10, that is equivalent to 1,000. Or is it possible that I'm going to adjust this one to 120, then multiply by 10, and that is equivalent to 1,200? Yes, that's also correct. Okay? The answer is no, because 120 multiplied by 12, this is another way, multiplied by 12 is 1,440. So it is less than 1,500 still. Okay, so those are the different ways to find the answer question number 1. Question number 2 to 5, let's estimate, then tell if your estimate is overestimate or underestimate. So here, there's a lot of answers. It depends upon on the rule or into the strategy on how are you going to estimate. Maybe you are using rounding or compatible numbers. So number 2, 29 multiplied by 688. If I'm going to round 2 and 6, this becomes 30 and this becomes 700. So 700 multiplied by 30, that is 21,000. And it is overestimate because from 29 it becomes 30 and 688 becomes 700. So that is a sample answer. We have a lot of answers here because maybe you can round only the tens place or you can adjust the number. 210 multiplied by 733, my sample answer is 150,000 because I'm going to change this into 700 and I'm going to change this into 200. So 700 multiplied by 200 is 140,000, and that is underestimate because from the original given, it becomes lower. The same thing in number 4, 108 or 43 multiplied by 108, my answer is 4,300 because I'll just change this into 100, then multiply by 43, 4,300. And it is underestimate because from 108, I adjust the number into 100. Number 5, 380 multiplied by 690, my possible answer is 280,000. Why 280,000? Because I'm going to change this into 700 and this is 400. So 700 multiplied by 400 is 280,000. And why overestimate? Because from 690 it becomes 700 and 380 becomes 400. Now it's your turn. Try to answer your following questions. Pause the video. Time is up. Check your answers. 120,000, 30,000, 10,000, 10,000, 8,000, 10,000, 320,000, 24,000, 5,000, 280,000, 2,900, and 630,000. And those are only sample answers. Number 18, mathematical practices and problem solving. Estimate 530 multiplied by 375. Is the estimated product closer to 150,000 or 230,000? Explain. So the answer is 200,000. That is the sample answer. Okay, because I'm going to change this into 500 and I'm going to change this into 400. So 500 multiplied by 400 is close to 200,000. Next, number 19. Is 500 an underestimate or overestimate for the product of 12 and 53? So if I'm going to estimate this one, this becomes 10 and this becomes 50. So 50 times 10 is 500. So from 12 becomes 10 and from 50 becomes 53 becomes 50. So it means that is underestimate. Because from the original given, it becomes lower. From the original given, it becomes lower. Next, number 20. Samuel needs to estimate the product of 23 multiplied by 395. Explain two different methods Samuel can use to estimate. So the possible answers are the rounding method. 20 multiplied by 400 is 8,000, or using the compatible numbers becomes 23 becomes 25 and 395 becomes 400. So 25 multiplied by 400, the answer is 10,000. Number 21. Rebecca said that 10 cubed is 30 because 10 plus 10 plus 10 equals 30. Do you agree? Of course not, because 10 cubed means 10 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 10, and that is 1000. Number 22. AB counts 12 large boxes and 18 small boxes of pencils in the supply cabinet. Each large box contains 144 pencils. Each small box contains 24 pencils. Estimate the total number of pencils. Is your estimate an overestimate or an underestimate? Explain why it might be better to have an underestimate rather than overestimate. So the answer is 1,800, and that is underestimate. So an underestimate is better to make sure that there will be enough pencil. 23. Susan used rounding to estimate 24 by 413 and found 20 multiplied by 400. Jeremy used compatible numbers and found 25 multiplied by 400. Whose method gives an estimate closer to the actual product? So the answer is Jeremy, because 25 multiplied by 400 is 10,000. So its compatible numbers were closer to the actual numbers. Okay? Next, 24. Lance has 103 packages of sports cards. Each package has 28 cards. Use rounding to estimate about how many cards does Lance have. So 102 becomes 100. 100 multiplied by 30. So the answer is 3,000. And which that does not show a reasonable estimate, 24 by 338. The answer is 10,000. Okay, why? Because 24 becomes 20 and 300, that is 6,000. And if I'm going to change this into 25 multiplied by 300, so that is 25 multiplied by 300, that is 70,500. Okay, or I'm going to change this into 20 and this is 350, so that is 7,000. So those are the possible estimation. That's it. Thank you so much and have a nice day.